Whether you have an autoimmune condition like Hashimoto's or not, exercise is critical to optimal human health. And if you're really looking to get a handle on immune system function and supporting your thyroid, we have to be intentional about daily movement. But for a lot of people, it's not about understanding that exercise is important, it's more about going out and actually doing it. So in today's video, we are going to talk about reframing our approach to exercise and why it's so important. We'll talk about the best kinds of exercise that you can do, and we'll also discuss strategies for actually going out and executing on it. As always, if you like this video, I always appreciate a thumbs up, and if you could, subscribe to the channel. I post videos every single Thursday, and by subscribing, you'll make sure that you don't miss any of the new content. My name is Dr. Bodle, and I've helped hundreds of patients lose weight and improve their energy by naturally supporting their Hashimoto's and low thyroid conditions. One of the keys to doing that is addressing the whole person, and a huge component is making sure that their exercise is appropriate for their lifestyle and where they're at on their health journey. So let's start off by talking about why exercise is such a critical piece of our foundation and how we can approach it in the proper manner. Now, we know when it comes to autoimmunity, there's no way that we can currently completely reverse or cure these conditions. So a lot of time it comes down to management. Now in the medical world, that looks like either looking at the particular gland or tissue that's been damaged and replacing its function through some sort of medication, or taking an immunosuppressant drug that will ideally limit the damage in the first place. The problem with replacement hormone is we're already waiting for the damage to occur. And with immunosuppressants, although the idea is a little bit more proactive, there's a lot of nasty side effects and consequences that can come along with that type of approach. For example, although immunosuppressants can limit the severity and intensity of autoimmune symptoms, it leaves us vulnerable to things like infections and cancers. We do need some amount of immune system function to be able to defend ourselves. And if we put blinders on, it makes it very difficult to maintain that level of homeostasis. So if our current pharmaceutical options aren't optimal, we should take a step back and ask ourselves, what are our actual goals when it comes to supporting these kinds of conditions? And this is actually well defined in the current research and medical guidelines. And it includes targeting the pathogenic cells and leaving the rest of the immune system intact, supporting overall immune tolerance, making sure that there are minimal toxic side effects, and also making sure that it is efficacious in terms of cost. Fortunately for us, exercise checks all of these boxes, and it's really a shame that more doctors aren't including it as a robust part of their overall health plan to help support and improve autoimmune and thyroid function. In fact, it's well documented in the research that moderate, consistent bouts of exercise will improve immune system response, improve the amount of antioxidants in reserve, and also lead to a state of heightened immunocompetence. Now, hopefully that gets you really excited and pumped up, especially if you haven't been using exercise before. Now you have a tool that really addresses all aspects of your immune system and has very minimal negative side effects. And the reason why I wanted to drill some of the research and importance of the way that exercise supports our immune system is because I see a lot of people getting in this trap of thinking about exercise as only a tool for burning calories. Unfortunately, for a lot of people who are dealing with hypothyroidism and Hashimoto's, one of their main complaints and one of the main issues that they struggle with is weight gain. And that can be a problem for a whole bunch of different aspects of your life. So I think it's definitely a worthy goal to go after. But a lot of the time when we go in and see our doctor, they kind of shame us and make us feel like we're not doing things right. And if we are gaining weight, it's often comes back to the fact that we're probably eating too much and not exercising enough. And so for many people, they try to go back out and double down on their efforts. You know, we've talked about before how sometimes people are spending 30 minutes at the gym to start, but they end up spending 2 hours at the gym every single day because they're trying to compensate for what they're being told is a lack of effort. But we have to really reshift our thinking here and remind ourselves it's not about burning calories, it's not about losing weight. What it's really about is supporting our immune system and allowing us to manage the inflammatory load. So if you can get on board with that, our next question becomes, what is the best kind of exercise for these types of situations? And although I'd love to be able to say, hey, here's the one magic exercise that will really help you to improve all your symptoms, the fact is, there isn't one, and that's totally okay. But what I'd like you to focus on is two main things. What type of exercise do you enjoy? And what type of exercise makes you feel good? So just like we've talked about before with tracking our responses to different kinds of foods, the best thing we can do is listen to our body, and exercise is no different. So if we are going to go after this and be consistent in the best possible way, it has to be something that we enjoy and again supports our physiology, where after we finish a particular session, we don't feel like we are super exhausted, super wiped out, where we have to nap, or where it's taking us multiple days to recover. Those are all indications that we need to switch up our approach and modify some things to make it be more supportive. So to start, ask yourself what sort of activities you like to participate in. Do you like to go for walks and hikes? Great. Do you like to swim? Awesome. Maybe you're more about doing either body weight exercises or even throwing some weights around. All of these are good options. There is no best exercise. The best exercise is the one that you like the most. Once you've picked something, then we can work on fine-tuning it. So you've heard me say before that exercise does have a certain amount of stress and inflammation that it places on the body. And sometimes, depending on where we're at with our health and what our labs look like, that stress can be too much for us to tolerate. So for example, let's say we're picking something like walking. You may be able to go out and walk for 15 minutes and feel fine, feel great afterwards. But if you do that same walk and increase the intensity or maybe increase the duration, where now you're walking for 30 minutes, you can feel afterwards more sore, more achy, and like you've taken a bit of a step backwards. This is where you really have to listen to your body and make sure you document. So write down on a calendar, on a notebook, what type of exercise you're doing every single day and for how long. That way, if you do have an adverse reaction, you can go back, reflect on what was done, and make the necessary modifications. I would recommend that in the beginning, even if your particular exercise is giving you some issues, don't change from that exercise. Instead, modify the duration and the intensity and try to find a level that is more accommodating. If we start to move things around where one day we're doing more cardio heavy and the next day we're doing more weight training, it can be a bit more difficult in terms of nailing down the variables and really identifying what is going to nurture and support you in a way that you can be consistent with things. But before we move on to the last section, make sure you let me know in the comments below what your favorite kind of exercise is and what sort of tips or tricks you have to make sure that you keep it fresh and interesting for yourself over the long term. At the beginning of the video, I mentioned that for a lot of people, it's not about understanding that exercise is important. It's more about going out and actually executing on it. So I often recommend 3 main tips to allow us to be more consistent with our daily movement. And the first tip is to keep it manageable. So many times we make, whether it's dietary changes, lifestyle changes, exercise changes, into a much bigger deal than they actually are. We sometimes get caught in that trap and think that we need to go spend an hour to 2 hours at the gym. But that's not true, and we don't need to do that to be able to maintain or achieve the benefits that we're looking for. So what we want to do is break it down into bite-sized pieces. If we're only doing 5 to 10 minutes of activity every day, but we're being consistent with it, then that is a great outcome. I know that sometimes that might not seem like much, or we might feel like we should be doing more. But as long as we're being consistent, celebrate it. The fact that you're being active, the fact that you're doing something intentionally is much more powerful and supportive to your immune and thyroid function than not doing anything at all. The next tip is to plan ahead and put it on the schedule. If we have to wake up every single morning and create a new exercise or a new exercise routine from scratch, it is going to very quickly fall by the wayside, and we are going to realize that we're several weeks down the road where we haven't been as consistent as we should have been with our morning routines. So these are the kinds of situations where people say, I don't know what happened, I just got busy. And the reason is because we didn't do a good job of integrating it with our normal daily routine. Now, in terms of scheduling, I typically do recommend that people plan on doing their exercise in the morning. The reason being is that the research shows we're much more compliant and much more likely to do it on a regular basis if we're not leaving it to the rest of the day. And the reason and thought process behind that is because if we allow potential things to pop up and maybe interfere, things that we don't necessarily plan for, again, exercise isn't always a priority for us in the beginning, and so therefore it tends to get shoved to the side. So if we can make sure to get up, complete it right away, then we don't have to worry about it for the rest of the day. That being said, if you're someone who tends to exercise in the evening and you feel better doing so, don't worry about one being better than the other. Just find what works best for you and stick to it. The last tip is to find a workout partner who can help you stay accountable. There's going to be certain days where you wake up and you don't feel like exercising, and that is very, very normal. But if you can have someone else, a friend, a loved one, a partner, who can help you stay on track, make sure you either get outside or get to the gym, whatever it is you've chose to do, then it will be very beneficial in terms of your long-term success. And if you can incorporate just those 3 simple things, it will really allow you to be able to overcome a lot of the challenges and struggles that people have when they first start out on a new exercise regimen. So to recap, autoimmune conditions and Hashimoto's are tricky because there isn't a lot of pharmaceutical approaches that are beneficial and also don't have a lot of negative side effects. Exercise allows us to support good immune system function, improve tolerance, improve our antioxidant reserves, and it is very affordable and doesn't have any of the negative consequences. When picking an exercise, we need to make sure that it's something that we enjoy and we feel good after we do it. Lastly, starting a new exercise regimen can be very difficult and challenging for a lot of people, especially if we haven't done it before. So make sure you are keeping it manageable by keeping the duration short. We're planning ahead, and we have plenty of people around us who can be supportive and encouraging on our health journey. Now, if this video has got you excited to start making some changes and improving your activity levels, you might also want to start working on some of your dietary approaches. One of the ways that I've been helping people do that is providing a free download for them, which is titled 109 Foods to Boost Your Thyroid and Improve Your Energy. The link for that is in the description box below, and it's something that will very clearly and succinctly list out foods that you should and shouldn't be eating, and it's something that I use with my patients every single day. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. If you liked the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment if you have any questions. Check out my most recent video over here, and as always, I hope you're having an absolutely wonderful day. I hope you're having a wonderful week going forward. My name is Dr. Brad Bodle, and I'll see you guys real soon.